Today we're looking at the upcoming game Spellbreak, which has been growing a buzz over the last few months as more and more footage of the game has been released. In case you weren't quite aware of the title, Spellbreak is an upcoming battle royale RPG featuring epic magic combat, where you'll weave together spectacular spell combinations and craft strategic builds in your quest for survival. Now, if that language seems a little bit much, it's because that's the copy pulled right from the FAQ from Proletariat's website, the company behind Spellbreak, but the TLDR there is a battle royale game with mages. Now, because of an NDA, what can be said and shown is quite limited. We're restricted to really only sharing what's been officially shared, so while in the future we'll touch on some of the more specific aspects to the game, in this video I want to talk about why Spellbreak is special, at least in terms of the battle royale genre, as it's not just another battle royale game to scoff at and add to the list of 100 others coming out soon. Now, there are a few things I could talk about and extend the length of the video with, but let's just keep this on point with the most important part to me. Spellbreak is a battle royale game that isn't defined by the genre. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. PUBG would be the opposite. Its appeal is solely being a battle royale. If they decided to alter the game and make it only a traditional deathmatch or King of the Hill or a capture the flag style mode, even more people would stop playing. Quality-wise, it was, when I played it at least, a buggy, unoptimized mess that people just dealt with because Battle Royale was this new, fresh game mode that they wanted to play. Now, that success spawned waves of games where people tried to release their own spin on the Battle Royale genre to capture some of that interest, maybe a product with increased polish, or they added the game mode to their already existing IP or their engine, maybe they add a unique twist on the format, like maybe it all takes place on a game show or something. And they've seen varying levels of success. I mean, they've created one of the most popular games of all time, but more realistically, they quickly add to this growing pile of failed games as the genre staples have largely been established. But fine, I don't particularly like Battle Royale, but people do. But my initial reaction was to write off Spellbreak as just another one of those games trying to cash in on that just wouldn't interest me at all. However, Spellbreak isn't just recreating a battle royale with fantasy and magic. If you want that format-first style, a PUBG with fantasy and magic instead of guns and grenades, that's what Realm Royale was. Spellbreak, first and foremost, is creating that power fantasy so many of us have of crazy, over-the-top mage versus mage combat in a way that hasn't really been done before outside of something like an MMORPG or, even in-depth mage combat hasn't been given a real focus. I guess you could look to games like Wizard of Legend or Magicka, possibly even a couple MOBAs, but there is something that doesn't connect in the same way as this over-the-shoulder, fast and frantic, action-oriented combat style does, and it's not even just a good magic system, which it is, it's a good mage, it's a good battle mage system that holds quite a bit of depth and a high skill cap and a lot of satisfaction when you actually use it. That's what hooks you, not the genre. And even when you just watch clips of Spellbreak, you aren't thinking about battle royales at all, or this game's take on it, the size of the map, or how many players are in each round, or even the variation of the landscape. You're thinking about the possibilities as you watch somebody create an ice slick with frost magic and sprint towards their enemy on it, or watching a mage who seems to be attuned to wind, use verticality and spend time in the air raining down blow after blow. You see tons of different playstyles and over-the-top spells and wonder how combat's even going to work. How could this be balanced? How many schools of magic are there? The genre isn't what makes this interesting, and in fact, the genre can almost be depressing as you sit down and you watch and hope that the game is being released in your genre of choice. Now, this might seem like much ado about nothing. You might be sitting there saying like, man, Fevir, you're really overthinking this, but I am telling you, I think Proletariat is sitting on a golden egg here. It's like finding a free 4-letter domain name. It's this idea that works well on its own. It reads well. For some reason, it hasn't really been done before. They've captured this striking graphical style, and excuse me for bending the NDA a bit here. Sure, it does have ways to go. It's in development, but it feels absolutely incredible and, more importantly, unique to actually play the game. The experience of controlling this battle mage is something that you could slot into kind of whatever format or genre that you wanted, and that will prevent it from being boxed to a format forever. I personally think that Spellbreak will find its success in the future in something that's not Battle Royale if it survives its launch. Now granted, it is a PvP focused game, but there are titles like For Honor or Smite that show you just how much variation that you can get with that restriction in place. It just so happens that they're using Battle Royale, at least initially, to present the experience. I even remember seeing something in the past, an interview or something, that they chose to go with the Battle Royale route because it's really cheap and relatively easy to implement, as well as just being on trend. But even in their press one sheet about what this game is all about, they kind of gloss over it being a Battle Royale and instead almost stress its RPG elements more, because I think they even know that's not what's important and they try to downplay it. And that's kind of why I'm so excited for this. The comparison I would use for Spellbreak is actually Warframe, a game where first and foremost, you are a rad badass space ninja, and Warframe prioritizes making sure it always feels good to be a rad badass space ninja, and they will add all these different types of content around that specific thing, some better than others, some completely unrelated, but they too are fulfilling this fantasy of being a rad badass space ninja first, and then they give you this playground to play in. With Spellbreak, the focus is on you being a rad, badass battle mage, and it just oozes potential. And the part that gets me really going, and maybe it's just because I've seen so many games at this point over the years, so few of them are appealing separately and almost in spite of the genre that they've chosen. And that doesn't inherently mean that this game is going to be any better or worse, but that gives them a kind of freedom that developers usually don't have, and that's massive. I mean, the only thing that even compares to something like this is a well-established brand or IP deciding to adapt that to something else in the future. And so I'm really interested just to see what they do with this. I want to see how it develops in the short term, but especially in the long term. Now, a sad state that we're kind of in, competitive focused games they're at the whims of popularity and the right people playing them and the momentum of releases and update structures. So I'm not saying that this game is the next big game, but I am saying that they have something special here that is on trend, but not shackled to the trend. And so it'll be fun to watch if nothing else. Do yourself a favor, check out their Discord, sign up for the alpha on their website, and stay tuned to this channel because I'll be covering this game as I just want to know what happens with it. So that's going to do it for me. Until next time, this is Fevir. Peace.